This puppy.
Recording in progress. Let old acquaintance be forgot.
Hey, guess what?
Hmm.
We made it, man.
We made it.
I'm gonna go out on
2020, 2026.
I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm just gonna assume that we're gonna make it another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm kind
Well,
of, I'm kind of, I know I'm pushing things, but
yeah.
I think we might make it.
I think we can hang in there another 2 weeks. We can hang in there. This episode, welcome to Lawless Podcast with Justin and Clayton. As always, I'm Clayton. This is my best friend in life and in podcast world, Justin
Whoop
Crafton.
whoop.
It is the New Year's. What are we gonna do this? New Year's Day or New Year's Eve? When are we dropping this?
Maybe we should just do it New Year's Day. To
New
give
Year's
you
Day.
something. Start 2026 off right.
Start 2026 off right with your two homeboys
You're in
right
the right.
here.
You're in the right place.
J Dub and CB, we're bringing you around.
Bringing the light.
Bringing the light. That's right. We're not going to hide it under a bushel. No.
No.
I'm going to let it shine.
Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine.
Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. That's the OODA loop, son. You're stuck in that OODA loop. No, we got a good show for you today. First, wherever you're at, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead, share this episode with a friend, share it with a coworker, with a family member. You're not the only one that needs this, okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
listener?
And some of you probably, I dare say most of our listeners probably made a New Year's resolution to be a better person this year.
Yeah,
The easiest way to start that?
share Lawless.
Sharing Lawless or liking, subscribing, commenting.
Yeah, but
Those are the best ways I know how.
yeah, I mean, we already said this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. You know how you shine this lawless
Yeah.
light?
Let me
Share.
ask you this, young person. Are
Go
you
ahead.
hiding your light under a bushel?
Oh no, he's talking to me.
Young person, listen to me.
Oh no, he's talking to me.
The world needs that light. The
Oh
world
no.
needs the light of the Lawless podcast. And yeah, start 2026 off right.
Start 2026 off right. That's what we're going to do for you, boys and girls, whatever you are out there, however you identify yourself. That's what we're doing for you. We're starting 2026 off right. Um, like I said, go ahead, like, share, subscribe, do all the things. We're still taking listen. We're not going to cover any write-ins today. Today we're going to do a special year in review and maybe a looking forward to 26. But we're still taking our listener write-ins. So listeners, if you with your questions, comments, concerns, with your lawless Bible study topics, with your lawless confessionals, go ahead and write in at podcastlawless@gmail.com. Justin or I, or maybe our new technical producer that's coming around the bend, are gonna look at that, and we're it's gonna be part of the show. You are going to be part of the show.
That's
Isn't
it.
that neat?
Maybe somebody's wanted to be on a podcast or wanted to have a podcast or just to be a part of a podcast. Now's the time.
Right.
It's free.
You know, you can avoid this situation that I have found people in where you say, "Hey, I want to come on your podcast." And you say, "Sure, come on my podcast." And then when maybe that friend is visiting a podcast, instead of having something to say, they just say, the whole time. So instead of avoiding that, you can just write in. Avoid that whole potentially awkward conversation. Just
Yeah.
write in it. Have something planned.
And we can give you credit. We can name you by name if you want.
Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
if you want to be anonymous, we can do that too.
As Anonymous, Hip Hop Anonymous. Um, J Dub, my brother, before I get into everything lovely that we're going to cover, how are you doing?
You know, I am not doing too bad.
Yeah,
It's I want to say turned out to be a pretty nice day. I want to say it was like 50 something, mid 50s.
right.
It's a nice pretty day outside. It was a good time to be outside, getting some
Isn't that a
work done.
special treat? Isn't that a special treat when it's nice outside during winter?
Oh
Like
yeah.
a warm day during winter? Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, especially, more than halfway through December. As
Yeah.
far as I can tell, as far as I'm concerned, we got about another month and a half, and then it's time for spring, baby. It's
You
time
think so?
Not really, but I'm going to manifest it.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
I'm I'm going to say mid-February we're going to be out of the woods.
Isn't it weird? I don't think that the seasons are perfectly balanced.
Dude, you it's been a little bit since you've lived here.
Right.
And so I don't know how much has changed since you've lived here, but it's it kind of makes me wonder about the whole global warming thing.
But I mean, yeah. It, it's global warming, global cooling, all of the things together. But I feel like the seasons are getting adjusted, like our calendar's not right.
Yeah, I feel like something's off because
Yeah.
we've really honestly, again, this is mid-December. I feel like we've had less than 5 actual cold days.
Yeah.
But even then, like last year, I don't know that we had more than a couple weeks. Like it just seems like it's getting more mild.
See, when I was on the road there, I could bet a paycheck that there was going to be almost a solid month, like a solid 30 days between January and February in that time frame of on third shift, every day was below zero.
Oof. Yeah.
Every day was below zero out there on the highway or wherever.
Now it's entirely it's entirely possible that we're getting the same amount of cold days, but I'm just staying away from it.
Yeah.
Like
I ain't on third shift anymore, homie.
because there are some days that I step outside and say nope and go right back inside.
Uh-huh.
So that maybe the temperature's not getting better. Maybe it's just I don't have to deal with it as much anymore.
Man, I'm not gonna lie. I like to diffuse situations where someone would say, "Man, must be nice." You can just turn around, go inside, must be nice. And usually it's always, well, it's not as nice as you think. There's this and that. But tell you what,
Sometimes it's pretty dang nice. Did
sometimes it's
you
pretty nice.
did you ever have to work an accident where your ink pen froze?
Yeah, dude.
That's
Where everything froze.
because so you can't even if your ink hadn't froze, you can't wear a glove and take down a VIN number or
Right.
copy down insurance or whatever. Like you've got to have your gloves off, so your hands are going to freeze, and
Yeah.
then it's freezing outside, and so your ink freezes. Uh, God forbid it be raining or moisture or something like that. Like it's miserable, just miserable. I'm so
Yeah.
glad I don't have to deal with it anymore.
Yeah, accidents on the road were the worst. The wintertime accidents. I don't want to go into that too far. Golly, I had some horror stories that would completely derail us. I know you do too. Um, Year in review, 2025. This was kind of a big year, right? Was
A
it an
bit
eventful year?
seems to have been.
It
Um,
that it seemed like a year of unprecedented times.
I feel like, man, honestly, I feel like since 2020, like the
Right.
past 5 years have been and I still remember how lit 2025 was supposed to be. I'm sorry, 2020 was supposed to be.
Oh, right.
I want to
Perfect
say,
vision, baby.
I think Cinco de Mayo was on a Friday, 4th of July was on a Friday. Like everything was
Yeah.
lined up to where it was going to be the
Yeah.
best. And I was
I
so
remember that.
excited about that. And it turned out just kind of shitty.
Yeah.
And it turned out it's been roughly 5 years long.
2020 has been
It's
going for a while.
yeah, it's been one long shitty year.
Man.
However, maybe we're just getting used to it because I agree. This past year seems like it's been nonstop, unprecedented events. But I'm feeling okay.
I mean, is it all bad?
I mean, I think you just kind of you grow with it and you make do, and I don't know, maybe you just get used to it.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of learning. There's been a lot of learning. That's like a theme that I'm choosing to apply to my personal life and like on the inside and the outside world. Like it hasn't all been rainbows and butterflies, or what does Tucker Carlson say? Pancakes and blowjobs. Woo! It hasn't all been pancakes and butterflies. I'm gonna do a little hybrid there. Hasn't
Yes.
all been pancakes and butterflies, but um, there has been a lot of learning. One of Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're going to dive into it. We're going to dive into it. We're going to do a 2025 in review on these four-ish subjects. Um, we'll talk about how 2025 was with them and maybe our predictions on where they're going to go in 2026. In some of these areas, we're going to give you our plans. Like these are personable, actionable things that we're going to be doing in 2026. Just little tools for the toolbox.
Heck yeah.
So the first area we're going to be covering conspiracies, current event. These are the topics: conspiracies, current events, theology slash or deconstruction, um, mental health, and healing slash healing. I would call these our lanes. Like there's a
Yeah.
theme of the show.
Yeah. I would say we travel those roads pretty frequently.
Yeah, yeah. That's section or that's 8 and 7. That's 8 and 7B. All right. First up to bat, current events. Current events for 2025 were pretty eventful, I guess.
Yeah.
Top up, I think you can't beat this. President Donald J. Trump entered office, the White House, for a second term. That was pretty dang eventful.
Do
It felt
you,
it felt like everything was leading up to that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, no. Do you think he finishes his term? I know this is going to go
Oh
into predictions, but
no, that's yeah.
do you think? Because honestly,
Um,
I'm a little surprised. I don't know. I mean, I guess he finished the last time, so
Well, I mean, 2025 seemed like an entire presidency term in one
I
year.
know, I
Like,
know.
how much of shit can we
Ju-
pop off?
Just more and more.
And more and more. Yeah, the answer is yes. I learned that from Benny. The answer is yes. Um, we started off with a bombing campaign in Libya. That I mean, because here's my focus, my highlights of President Trump entering office in 2025 is 2024. Well, 2024 all was a campaign. Like everyone was consumed with in the talking space with current events around the election. Every current event, like the Kardashians or GM or the military or conspiracies, everything seemed to be around the election. Cardi B, everyone was in the election. So one of the things that we heard over and over again about Trump, one of the things that man made me vote for him was no new wars, right? We will bring our troops home, baby. He didn't say that.
Read my lips. No new wars.
No new wars. Well, the first month in February, we started off this presidency with a bombing campaign in Libya. Unprecedented. Libya wasn't doing anything to us. The Houthis. Yeah. What do you remember
Who
about that?
who wanted them? Who wanted us to bomb them? Do you suppose? Who had an interest in us bombing them?
I couldn't think. One might assume or one might maybe hypothesize that there's an actor in that region that is just constantly stirring up the hornet's nest with every single state around there. I say that because it seems like every single state, country around there is just taking round robins of just, popping off. We're talking Libya, Syria, uh, wherever. All these other places that are around there. Iran happened pretty big this year. All these places, it seems like there's one central actor around there that's stirring everything up. But
I
I
don't
can't.
know. That wouldn't be our greatest ally. I don't think.
No,
I
that
don't
would be
think.
the opposite of a greatest ally.
I don't think. I don't think they would. I don't think they
Someone,
would intentionally get us involved in things that don't concern us. That how shitty of a friend would it be? How shitty of an ally would I be to you
uh-huh.
if I just had a list of all these people that have done me wrong or that I thought did me wrong or that I just plain don't like, and I was just like, hey Clayton, would you just go drop a bomb on them? Like just walk by and just fucking drill them.
Unload, unload, unload. What the heck?
Uh, and then you just did it. You're like, okay, boss, no problem.
On top of this, every time we meet, I give you money, a lot of money, like all of my money.
That's a weird relationship, man.
That's a weird relationship, man. I mean, I would like from the outside looking in, I'd have to assume you've got some dirt on me. You've got some leverage on me.
Yeah.
Because obviously the bigger kid in the playground wouldn't be bossed around, wouldn't give his money to a little kid like that.
I mean,
Start all these fights.
unless I was God's chosen nation,
Mm.
that might, yeah. If I could convince you that I was the most important country ever to have
Ever.
existed,
Ever.
like and that I must exist for you to go to heaven or for end times to come or for the
Yeah.
Bible to be true. And
Right.
that might be a big part of it. You know, for the Bible to be true, I must be protected and I must survive.
Well, and here's the thing too. I, in this situation, the other actor, I might not even believe that. Not maybe part of me does, and maybe other part of maybe, like I've got multiple personalities. Maybe part of me does, and maybe part of me doesn't. But that's not even important to me, the person who's going and doing your fighting and who's giving you my money. What's really important for me that everyone who votes for me and puts me in office, they think that I believe you are
Yeah.
the only God's chosen
Hang,
country.
hang on just a sec.
No problem.
Yeah, man. If I can get a bunch of rich evangelical
Uh-huh.
donors behind me, if I can convince them that you are, rather, that I am God's chosen people and the beloved, whatever, whatever, we can both make out all right.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're just rubbing the other kid in this scenario is just rubbing the US's nose in it with I don't want to go down a dark train, but it seems like they're just rubbing our nose in it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It seems like what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do is the
Nothing.
question. Nothing.
Okay, so we had that. Now I saw, and to me it seems, I don't believe it, I don't trust it, but I saw an article yesterday that said that Trump was going to, like, he was in the process of declassifying marijuana,
Rescheduling.
rescheduling. That's, yep, rescheduling marijuana. But that was supposed to be also not, maybe not day one, but that was supposed to be at the very beginning.
That's supposed to be first term. That's what he ran on his first term with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was gonna happen. I don't um I don't know. It shouldn't be scheduled at all. It should be completely descheduled. It should be completely unregulated. I mean, treat it the same way you treat coffee. Treat it the same way you treat sugar and salt. If you take too much of that, you're going to kill yourself. Or treat it the same way you treat booze. That's the most
You
responsible.
might even start scromiting if you drink too much.
Yeah. What is a scrommet? What is scrommeting?
It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life, is what it is. I swear, you see these articles, and I will say that when I was back at the sheriff's office, we had a big, and I was involved in it because my boss told me to be involved in it.
Uh-huh.
But we had this big thing on edibles. Apparently, there were edibles in town, and I think that was before Delta 9 and 8. I think, I don't remember. All I remember is there was a presentation in which somebody referred to an article that talked about overuse of this THC would produce screaming and vomiting. And I just have to think to myself, like, how far does this study have to go for you to find whatever number of people you need to find that actually had a psychotic reaction or actually had scromiting?
Where are you getting
Like
your
that,
data from?
yeah, that's the question. Where is this data coming from? Because I don't trust it.
Well, and since it's Schedule 1, there is legally no federal testing. There's no scientific testing federally legal because it's Schedule 1. And so, especially going back then when you were in NARCs, like, where are you getting this data from? You're getting this from second, third, fourth person review.
Yeah.
Some deputies report, I came upon the scene and
They were screaming and vomiting at the same time. You might say they were scromiting.
scromiting.
Keep it. Use that one.
Use it. That's a medical diagnosis now. Yeah, man.
So
we're not children. Like, gosh dang. Already.
Yeah. I mean, that's one area that if they could stop treating us like kids, that'd be fantastic.
I mean, and there's a there and the trickery and the like backhandedness, because here's the thing is that cannabis, whatever, Delta, the traditional THC Delta 9, California, Colorado weed, what has is legal in like, what is it, up to 14, 18 states, something like that now?
I mean, I think it's every state surrounding Kansas.
Yeah, yeah, I believe it is. Um, but the states that don't have recreational or even medicinal marijuana, there's been a that was passed, voted for, and passed by both houses of Congress and approved by the President of the United States. The hemp bill, the 2018 hemp bill, that made it legal for CBD and for even THC Delta 8, Delta 9, THCA. This was creating a lot of tax revenue in the counties. This was creating small businesses. I mean, there in Wichita, it seems like every other block was a new dang Delta 8 shop. There's all the accessories that are going with it. Like it in its own little way, there is an economy that boosts up around it. Um, and people had to be 21 to buy it, or at least the states that I was in, they had to be 21 to buy it. You got to be
Mhm.
21 to buy tobacco. You got to be 21 to buy this stuff. So it's getting taxed, it's regulated. You can still get a DUI on it. Like it's not a magic pill out of a DUI. You can still absolutely get a DUI on it. You're still held accountable for your actions when you're on it. What's the problem? Well, the problem is Jack Daniels funds Mitch McConnell's campaign.
Yeah.
And the problem is Jack Daniels does not like Delta 8 and THCA and THC 9, and they especially don't like full legal recreational cannabis.
The other thing that happens is you stop taking your
Mm.
pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
You stop taking your antidepressant meds, and you stop taking your
And the meds that treat the side effects of those meds.
yeah, you stop taking your uh, meds for PTSD and everything else, and you treat yourself.
Right. Well, yeah, because that, I mean, you could say it as a gateway and, whatever. The gateway that it led for me was thinking outside of the box and holistic healing, or at least it was a part of the gateway for that. A pretty big part of
Yeah,
the gateway for that.
for sure. Yeah, for me, it was a gateway to conceiving, perceiving thoughts and points of view that I'd never considered before.
Yeah. It was impossible for you to consider before.
Yeah, and I mean, I really do make a direct line from using THC to recognizing things that I just had been unable to recognize, both in culture, but also myself. Like,
Yeah.
like I was thinking the other day, and I know some people use it to just party, and that's fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but and this probably has to do with my personality. I tend to think deeply about things anyway. But when I'm using it, man, the self reflection
Hmm.
and the 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 processing, the internal processing that happens,
Yeah.
I I can't. I doubt that there even is a pharmaceutical that would be able to allow you to be so introspective.
Yeah. There is a term in recovery. Oh, shucks. I wrote down because I was thinking about it the other day. Oh, make the fourth step in the 12 steps is make a searching and fearless moral inventory. I think certainly some aspects of me, but maybe quite a few aspects of me, it was impossible for me to make an honest searching, what was the term? Searching and fearless moral inventory of myself. What that is taking, man, listen out everything. Listen out at all, getting to know your shadow.
Mm.
It was impossible for me to get to know the deepest, darkest parts of me with at least that was just my personal journey without that chip in the wall that came from Delta 8 from the West Wichita
I heard
dispensary.
a I heard a really good description of the shadow self the other day.
Uh-huh.
I don't think we talked about it, and I don't want to get us off track, but the description I heard was the shadow is the opposite of what your ego identifies with.
Ooh.
And I thought about that for a second. So everything I think I am, everything that I would list off, honest, full of integrity, kind, humble, fair, loving, all of the things that I want to be, that I would say I am.
Right.
My shadow is the opposite of those.
Hmm.
And I mean, I think that it's, as much as we hate, most of us hate to acknowledge our shadow, it's all there.
It's all there, and it's all you.
It's all there. It's all me. It's all available at any given time.
We're sneaking into mental health. But
oh, shit.
we're sneaking into mental health 2025. We're going to spend a lot of our time there. All right, let's get back to light and levity before we get there. The 2025 current events, the last, I had Trump entered the term, all the things that went with it. We're talking about the cannabis and all the craziness. Chiefs lost the Super Bowl.
Fuck, dude.
2025. It's hard to be a Chiefs fan, but it's still fun to be a Chiefs fan.
It still is. And I'll tell you this much. It kind of sucks that Mahomes is out. But tickets for the games up to this point were like $300, minimum.
Ridiculous.
For the lower level, because anymore I don't really like, if I'm paying $100 for nosebleed, I would rather pay $250 for good seats.
Decent.
But whatever. They were $35. Like you can get them for a song, but it's still an awesome
experience.
Entertain. Yeah, it's you got to go to Arrowhead. You've got to do all the things. If anybody's thinking about going, I know that on Christmas Day. Ooh, sorry guys, you missed out.
What happened on Christmas Day?
Well,
you don't have to tell us the score. You can just tell us.
You could get tickets for pretty darn cheap.
There were tickets for pretty darn cheap on Christmas Day.
Yeah. But they can't win them all.
Right.
I get it. I get it. Yeah. And honestly, dude, I've been through so many painful years of watching the Chiefs. Like, honestly, this may be what we need to get rid of some of these bandwagon fans.
I think so.
Maybe get, I'm a Swiftie. I love Taylor Swift, but maybe like her and Travis can ride off into the sunset. We can, just get rid of the circus.
Yeah, that would feel good. Maybe.
And I'll tell you this. I think it was last year. I'm going to say this with my finger pointed out, just like this.
Yeah.
I don't remember when it was. Recently, it was within the past couple of years. I noticed it was when Taylor Swift, they were making a huge deal about her, all this kind of stuff. And I noticed the players on the sideline, specifically, what was that guy's name that was dropping all the balls? Not Tony.
Travis Kelce.
No. I can't. He was a receiver, and he dropped some pretty important
White
passes.
Worthy.
No, this was a couple years ago. Anyway, I just noticed that like players weren't playing that great, but they were wearing like flashy jewelry and like
chains.
They just seemed. Obviously, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'll defer to Andy Reid, but it felt like they had gotten very distracted.
Yeah. There was a line from this podcast that really got me into podcasts. I started listening to probably 15 years ago, but Hardcore History, and it was talking about the some of the Greek, like Alexander the Great, spread Greek language and Greek whatever philosophy all throughout the Mediterranean or the ancient world. Well, anyway, there was this ancient empire that was falling to pieces. I can't remember if it was the Assyrian, but it was one of those Middle Eastern empires. And a historian looked back on it and said, the men started wearing embroidery on their breeches, on their pants. And that's what made them soft. And that's why the civilization fell.
And I think that there's some truth to this, but the quote, good hard times make strong men make hard times create weak men, something to that effect.
Yeah.
Good times create weak men.
Yes.
Strong men.
Weak men.
Say it for me, Clayton.
Jesus Lord. Weak men make hard times. Hard times make strong men. Strong men make good times. Good times make weak men. weak men make hard times. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
But I, I mean, I think that there's probably some truth to that, and I think that it probably applies to professional sports teams. You know, that when
Sorry, I had to make sure my door was unlocked. I just heard the kids come in.
oh, no problem. I was going to look and see if it's really bothering me that I can't remember that dude's name, even though it really doesn't matter. Ultimately, what I'm afraid of is I'm afraid somebody's going to listen to this and be like, "He's not a true Chiefs fan." Well, I'm here to tell you that old T-Bone,
Yeah.
my brother Travis, he got me a poster when I was a kid that was the coolest poster I'd ever had of the Chiefs defense, and it said the tribe underneath it. This day and age, you might not be able to get away with it. I don't know, but it was the entire defensive tribe or tribe, entire defensive squad, wearing like warrior gear, like feathers and like the paint and stuff. They looked fucking badass, dude. And again, I don't know if you can do that. I don't know if they'll be able to do it in 2026. But that was back with Dan Saliamua, Derek Thomas, Neil Smith, JJ Albert. Like I've been down there before, man, since early '90s. So
Yeah, dog.
losing this year, not that big of a deal.
It's all right. I came on as a Chiefs fan as an adult. Like when I was at the sheriff's office was when I became a Chiefs fan because I'm from Oklahoma and we don't have a professional football team, but we do have the Sooners. And in the 80s and 90s, Sooners were not the powerhouse that they are today. Actually, they had come off some highs and lows, Barry Switzer era, but like the Sooners I grew up with were kind of poo-poo until 2001 when Bob Stoops came in there and then he started winning national championships.
What's the default? What would the default team be in Oklahoma? Would it be
Oh, you
Cowboys? No, for NFL,
oh
would it be the Cowboys?
for probably half. Yeah, I think that's the thing is Oklahoma when I in the 90s, that was the feel that I recognized is either Dallas Cowboys or people who hated Dallas Cowboys and the people who hated Dallas Cowboys were like San Francisco 49ers fans. That's what
Oh,
I
really?
was. Yeah,
Okay.
when I was in elementary school, I was a San Francisco 49ers fan.
Just because you hated the Cowboys?
Yeah, but also Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice was like the Michael Jordan of football back
Yeah,
then.
yeah. Jerry Rice was a stud. It's funny though, isn't it? And it's kind of like politics. How passionate. Like I saw this on Facebook. People you probably saw it too. People that we used to work with, like almost having verbal fights, like just like bickering at each other about their team and
Yeah,
your
dude.
team, blah blah. And like it's kind of funny to me that these dudes they could be on another team tomorrow.
Yeah.
They could go from your team to that team that for whatever reason you hate. Like, is it just that you hate their colors? Like you don't like their color scheme, you don't like their logo? Because it's the same people.
Yeah.
But it's the same as politics.
Uh-huh.
It's just a jersey they're wearing. They're the same people. They're going to the same
They trade
parties.
sides all the time. They're all working for the same person. They get their checks from the same.
And depending on who you talk to, they may be throwing it. You know,
Yeah.
the whole thing may be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
I've never really entertained that thought because it seems to me like it would just be impossible to pull off. But I don't know. In any case, we didn't make it.
We didn't make it. Yeah, 2025 we didn't. The Super Bowl at the beginning of 2025 we lost, and then the season we lost.
Now I did. Let's see if I can find it real quick. I did make a bet at the very beginning of the season. I made like a $40 bet of who was going to win the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah,
So I don't know.
you didn't bet on the Chiefs?
I didn't. I didn't because then that way, if
It's
they
a win-win.
lose, yeah, it's either way, it's a win for me. Do you guys have sports betting out there? You do. You got like riverboats, don't you?
Yeah, there's betting and gambling out here. Pascagoula, Mississippi. There's A boat. I think that's where all the gambling boats are, is Mississippi. That's fairly close.
Okay, so I don't have any idea. I really haven't kept up with. I really haven't done a good job of keeping up with even the Chiefs. I just haven't been into it.
Been a
But
little unplugged.
yeah, a little bit. So I've got the Bills and the Lions in the Super Bowl.
Hmm.
How's that looking?
I don't know. I also have been unplugged. And the best of times, like I'll definitely always support the Sooners. And for right now, I'm supporting the Chiefs. But that doesn't mean I have to pay attention to them
Yeah,
all the time. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
I'm okay
Well,
to be one of those fans.
all right. Well, let's just check here. So in the AFC, the Bills are they're second in the AFC, so that's looking pretty good. In the NFC, it looks like
Lions?
ooh, Lions are 8-6. They may
Uh,
not.
uh-uh.
Well, maybe they'll build. Maybe they'll pull out the wild card spot and take it. If
Yeah.
they win, if they make it to the Super Bowl, $50 will win me 1,300.
Okay.
I'll
All
buy
right.
you. I'll buy you a nice meal, Clayton.
Thank you.
I'll buy you a nice meal if they win.
A succulent Chinese meal? 2025 in review. So that was the current events. That was the big ones. I also had the MAGA Civil War, but that'll play into the next one, the conspiracy theories of 2025. 2025 was big for the tinfoil hat crowd.
Yeah, and I just want for some. This is going to be getting out in front of it for some. Okay,
Uh-huh.
for others, for other people, this is too late to the party. But in 2026, I would encourage you if you hear a crazy, bizarre, just ridiculous conspiracy theory, you might give it a listen.
shot. Give it a
Just try,
shot.
try it on. Just try it out.
Not
Just
saying you gotta accept it. You don't
yeah,
have to put the hat on.
no, but just try. I mean, do put the hat on. Just try it. See what you think.
See how it fits.
You don't
Give it a
have to
shot.
wear. You don't have to wear it outside the house. How about we say that?
Well, here's the thing too. I hear this. I kind of heard this. I'm not going to completely throw him in the bus, but I kind of heard this from T a little bit before. Is I've heard people trashing conspiracy theories like, oh yeah, like the JFK grass. You know, he didn't say that, but something along those lines. And but like when you hear that as a conspiracy theorist, you're like, hey man, that's 100% true. What you just talked about.
You know they proved that, right?
Yeah,
You know that's a fact now.
yeah. That's the thing is people who poo-poo these conspiracies haven't even looked at it. Like they haven't even given it the time of day. Just completely
Yeah,
dismissive. That's the term. Is they're just so dismissive to where.
yeah. Well, because it's this. I think it's the same. It's the same concept as you just I guess it's the opposite of, but you just throw shit against the wall that's not true, but it
Mhm.
doesn't need to be true. It just needs to be heard by enough people that it becomes like
Right.
culturally true, even if it's not factually true. And so it's the same sort of thing where you just shit can so much that it doesn't matter that it is true because
Mhm.
culturally it's untrue, and that's all that really matters.
The CIA talked about this in MK Ultra, and it spun off into two other operations, Operation Blue Book and Blue Beam. But the idea was they introduced misinformation and disinformation into the vernacular, where it's either so much information onto the subject like aliens. How would you hide aliens? We'll put so much subject matter out there and like in media to where you're saying, oh, you're talking about that movie with Michael J. Fox and and
Right.
whoever and Charlie Sheen. I'm like, no, I'm talking about the lights I saw. Okay, you're talking about fire in the sky. So make it seem silly and also present other information out. This is disinformation. Is something that comes out of MK Ultra declassified topics and also in Operation Blue Book, which was about the collection of data of UFOs, and Operation Blue Beam, suspiciously close, which was a false flag operation of a plan of a false flag operation of a UFO invasion to bring the countries to civil war, or to bring the countries to a state of martial law, rather, to war. declassified CIA.gov operations. Google them. Disinformation is where you flood the ether with like if I was wanting to decredit you, I'd say, yeah, my uncle also sucks three-legged frog toads, and he told me he saw the same thing. You know?
Yeah. Would it would disinformation be like the the stuff on Trump about the prostitute? I mean, some of that, like the golden showers, all that kind of stuff. That would be
Oh,
disinformation.
it could be because
Who
I
knows? Who
haven't heard
fucking
that.
knows? You don't remember that? This was back in the
Oh, I was
2020
thinking
election.
recent.
Yeah. No. So like spreading information that
Yes. Yeah, spread information that is so crazy to so that when people hear you, they're like, "Oh yeah, I heard from my crazy uncle. My Vietnam uncle also believes in these conspiracy theories, Clayton. So, good luck with that."
yeah.
It's the information, yeah, the information that the uncle is touting out. Things that might or might not be true. So like you're saying with the golden shower stuff, I that is ringing some bells. Um, who knows? Because
Yeah.
you don't know what's real and what's fake out there.
Yeah. So as far as my money goes,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna believe I'm just gonna commit to 90%.
90?
I'm gonna commit to 90% of and that's probably I'm probably still undershooting it.
Uh-huh.
90% of the conspiracy theories I hear in 26, I'm just gonna accept.
Yeah. Well, that is a way. I'm definitely going to lend an ear to every single one that I hear. I want to let my spirit be the test. But something that so kind of like you were saying, maybe 90% of all media that I hear, and I don't watch the TV anymore, but I do still follow legacy media outlets just on social media now. But like New York Times, ABC, CBS, um, maybe 90% of everything I hear from them, I'll accept as false. I'll accept as categorically false. And it could be 100%, but at least 90%. Everything that I hear, I'm going to say wrong. So we'll meet in
Okay.
the middle, me and you.
Well, see, I think that's the problem is if the conspiracy theories come from mainstream media, then I'm not sure what to do because
Well then,
that's a 99 close to
yeah,
100% false. I got to hear it from your Uncle Terry.
yeah,
I got to
yeah.
hear it. I got to hear it on the street. I got to hear
Okay,
what the streets are saying.
that's
If
right.
if the streets are saying it,
That's
then I'm
right.
going to accept 90% of them.
Yeah,
But if it's uh man, I don't even know, dude. I don't even know.
if it comes
Big,
from Fox, I don't believe it. If it comes from CNN, I don't believe it. That's just where my
yeah,
spirit is right now.
yeah, but I wonder how many of those, your let's say your aunt or
Hmm.
whoever posts these conspiracy theories from Real Patriot News with a Z.com.
Uh-huh.
I wonder how many of those are owned by the same like it's
A
probably
lot.
yeah,
A
and
lot.
probably a lot of those. Obviously, most of those are foreign, but
Yes.
I wonder though, like how many other sources does say whoever owns Fox News? What other avenues do they have?
So you're kind of onto something with Uncle Terry because the real source of information to truth or to trust, I was looking at truth on my whiteboard. The real source of information to trust is trusted sources. What I mean by that is like independent media now. Like I
Yeah,
listen to people. This is gonna curl some hairs. I like listening to Candace Owens. I also like listening to Pod Save America. I like so the liberal side. I like listening to podcasters with kind of crazy ideas. I'm not buying into all of it, but I am trying it on, trying the hat on for
yeah.
size. Like what's she saying about the French president's wife?
Well, I mean, I guess it gets a little questionable. Any definitely once big money's involved, then it's
Right.
just no question. Then you just can't trust it. But for me, it just seems like What I want to say is it seems like Candace Owens has less reason to lie or inflate, to be, she has less reason to be dishonest, but at the same time, she's got her own, like, there's still money involved in her show.
Yeah.
And so I'm not sure where you draw that line.
Yeah, I don't know. What's a big red flag to me is when I see the many turn on the small. Like when I see the big turn on, when I see in the podcast world, like Ben Shapiro's outlet, whenever I see all like the big MAGA, the big conservative, the big podcasters turn onto one person because they're saying something that they don't like, that makes me listen to that person. And so, which is a direct reflection of Candace Owens over the past year. But even the idea in general of like, whenever CNN says don't trust podcasters, they don't know what they're talking about. That makes me want to listen to podcasters.
So I wonder if you could make a direct line to say that you can, once somebody gets too big to trust, you got it. Is that legit? Is that fair? Obviously, you can't trust somebody just because they're
I don't know about too big
non-
to trust. What I think the two thing to trust isn't big as much as it is connected. When
powerful.
someone is maybe powerful, yeah, man, I think you should always question. I think it is healthy and maybe a mandate, like a human mandate, because it's written in our DNA to healthily question authority and question those in power. Like I think
Yeah, you got to.
you got to.
Yeah, and that doesn't. You don't have to by telling them, "Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me."
Right.
But it does. I think it does mean to say, "Who says?
Yeah. Who said
Who,
why?
who gave you that authority? Why do I have to?" Yeah, I'm not.
What are you gonna do?
You're not. You're not my boss.
You're not my dad.
All right, so keep an open ear out for new conspiracies. They're probably true.
Yeah, I think so. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna minimize a lot of media intake in 2026, but I am gonna get back to some oldies. Like I'm probably gonna clean out my podcast queue in 2026.
How many? If you had to guess, how many shows do you have pop up on?
Man.
Like how many mid conversation, like, you know what I'm saying, like,
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I used to try to finish every podcast I started and listen to every podcast from the podcasters I listened to. Let me let you off the hook, Lawless listener. You don't have to do that. You do not have to listen to every minute of the podcast you like, and you don't have to listen to every episode even of the podcast you like. I lose it. I got this from Ryan Holiday, the author of The Daily Stoic and a bunch of other Stoic literature, and he has a podcast. But he said, if you're reading a book and it just doesn't grab your attention, put it down, because that's the author's fault. So if you're listening to a podcast and it just can't keep your attention, or you're not interested in it, like if they're not keeping your attention and you're not interested in the subject matter, homie, change the channel.
let it go.
What are you doing? Why are you listening to that?
That's like the thing that I realized with food, that
Yeah.
just because you dished it doesn't mean you have to finish it.
Right.
Put some back or throw it away. It'll be all right.
Give it to
It'll
the
be okay.
dogs. Give it to Roscoe over the
The
fence.
fat ass.
Fat fuck Roscoe.
Give him another 5 pounds so he can't run.
Yeah, and I'm gonna take him for a run as soon as he eats and see how he likes that. All right. Well, yeah. I'm going to be cleaning out my podcast queue. I want to keep, man. I want to keep some of the comedy ones. Some of the OG comedy podcasts that I listen to aren't even funny anymore. Like,
Yeah.
and I listen to them and they are phoning it in.
Oh.
I don't want to name them on here, but yeah, I mean, they're never going to listen to this. I really love him. I think he's an awesome comedian. Tom Segura with Your Mom's House podcast and Christina Pazitsky. Man, I can't listen to their Your Mom's Houses anymore. They went through a lot. I think 2024 and even into 2025. I used to listen to them like every episode Christina Pazisky got diagnosed with cancer, and they have like young kids that are about to be pre-teenagers.
Is that Tom Segura's wife?
Yeah, Christina Pazisky. Um, they he has like this media empire. Your Mom's House Studio is like now the producer of a bunch of other podcasts. And whenever you listen to your Mom's House podcast, like I tried to listen to it today, like you're talking about how many started and open-ended podcasts. I got like 10 minutes in. I was like, oh man, I can
Yeah,
tell you guys don't care anymore.
yeah. Well, I asked that kind of funny, and I asked it the wrong way because I've got a. It's an impossible, really, habit of trying to go to the beginning. So,
Oh
like
yeah.
when I was into Jocko, I went to number one
Yeah.
and was doing 3 a day, 2 a day, like just trying to catch up. And I was
Yep.
damn near caught up there for a little bit. So I said that kind of weird because obviously you're going to be in the middle of a bunch of them. But how many of you, like, how many do you get a day? How many new options do you get every day?
Oh man, I have subscribed to a few that were like suggested, but I listened to like one or two and just never unsubscribed from them. But here's the podcast that like pop up in my new episodes. My Spotify always gives me my new episodes for the ones that I listen to the most and the ones that are new in the queue. But I have Candace Owens is right there. That's my girl. Um, I got Fox News, which I'm gonna unsubscribe from. The Nish the Fish, who has the podcast for the love of yoga. I've sent you some of his stuff.
Yeah.
Um, there's a military one that I'm gonna unsubscribe from. There's Tinfoil Hat, which I love. The Higher Side Chats, I'm gonna unsubscribe from. Trigonometry, I don't even listen to it. I have unsubscribed from it, but they keep putting it in my queue. Soft Rep Radio, I'm gonna unsubscribe from that. I'm not gonna unsubscribe from these things because I think that they're bad. I'm just gonna unsubscribe because I
Just
don't
clear
listen
out.
to them. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just clearing out my queue. Keeping Joe Rogan. Uh, that's about it. Yeah, I'm gonna be clearing out my intake, I think.
Have you
That has to
noticed?
do with my conspiracies.
Have you noticed the kind of, maybe it's been happening for a long time. Maybe it's always happened. I don't know. The kind of people trying to bastardize Joe Rogan, like kind of blow him off, like the Rogification of whatever. Like,
Yeah.
well, the Joe Rogan bros, like just try to.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Is that is that new, or has that been all along? Is that because of his success, or because he's not marching? He kind of does his own thing,
Yeah,
specifically, but politics.
it's all of those things. People like to come up with reasons with why they're not successful and you are. And the thing is, Joe Rogan. I mean, I started listening kind of like with you with Jocko in October 2010. I started listening to Joe Rogan at episode 70, the Joe Rogan Experience at episode 70, and I went back and listened to the 70 or the 69 episodes before.
Yeah,
And I was on track. Like I had listened to every single one up until like 1400. And I was like, I was working third shift. I was like, I can't
yeah.
anymore. Because there were episodes coming out, new ones coming out, and I hadn't finished the old one. I was like,
Were they still like 3 hours plus back then?
yeah, I think the biggest one that he ever had was like 6 hours. But no, some of them were like an hour, hour and a half. He started them in the green room of the comedy clubs, and then he is doing it from his house. He did it from his house for years, and then I think like in 2011 or 12 is when he first, or no, 2011 is when he first got an episode or a studio outside of his house.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he's particularly funny, but I think he has a lot of interesting guests, and I think that he asks a lot of interesting questions. And I like how it seems to me that he thinks for himself.
Yeah,
I know that he took a lot of flack for the sickness and all that, and how he
yeah,
responded to it.
yeah.
And I guess to me it feels like this is all what I'm hearing seems like it's backlash from that. Like people just
Yeah,
trying to discredit him because even now, even after the fact,
yeah.
just trying to discredit him because of that.
Yeah, now it's definitely they're trying to excuse why he has that one podcast has more viewers than all of cable news.
Yeah.
Than all of them. Than all of them. That one podcast. Um yeah, it's kind of weird. There was did you hear there was the podcast awards this year at the Grammys? Like the Grammys gave out podcaster awards.
No, I didn't know
Well, Joe Rogan wasn't even invited.
that.
That
Okay.
te- that tells you like the media, what the big media's view is of Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
He is 100% the largest voice in
S-
podcast.
So maybe it's more a matter of we need we don't want people we don't want people using Delta 8. We want people using our approved
Yes,
medicine.
yes,
That's what it is. Okay.
yes, yes. That's exactly what it is. Okay, we covered current events and conspiracy theories. We're knocking on an hour. Are you ready to get into theology deconstruction? Like are you ready?
I'm ready. I stay ready.
Hey man, I keep one in the chamber, son. Keep that thing on me. 2025 in review of deconstruction. Where were you? Where was your mind? Where was your view on God, the Bible, at the beginning of 2025, and how is it different now? I guess Western evangelical, like the traditional
Yeah.
stuff.
I still going into 25, I believed that the Bible was true and some of the stories were meant for like it was still inspired by God and some of the stories were
In
allegorical.
2025, you thought that?
Yeah, going into I think going into 2025, I would have thought that it was allegory probably at most, not literal. Since it's changed or since then, and honestly, this may have been a couple of years now. I don't remember where I was in 2025, but what's changed, what's a fact now, and coming into on this New Year's Day, 2026,
That's
provided
right.
nothing happens between now and then, I would say that there's nothing supernatural about the Bible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it inspired in the sense that Rudy may have been inspired by a true person, you know, some great story, but
Yeah.
not that
Maybe
not that
even to a
they're
lesser degree than that.
yeah. Uh,
Because it was
um,
thousands of
it
years of
was
oral, if there were thousands of years of oral tradition of Rudy, and then some manipulation class writes down Rudy's story and then changes it over the next 1,200 years.
to benefit those in power
Yeah.
and themselves. Um,
If Rudy is even still in the story, it's not the real story of Rudy.
that's probably that has been my biggest change.
Okay.
I think in the past year, maybe it's been a couple years coming, but that's where I am now. What about you?
I was at the beginning of 2025, I was pretty much I was pretty much done on the Bible as a having any supernatural divination, like having coming from. I definitely think of it. I thought of the Bible being divinely inspired, as every religious system is divinely inspired. Like I think there probably. Actually, I know there are 100% legitimate religious spiritual experiences that happen in Christianity now. I'm sure they happened back then. I know they must have happened. And I'm sure it happened at the beginning. But the black and white Bible, I think, is just like a memory of those spiritual things. And they use that. I'm getting off. I didn't have a lot of faith in the Bible, but I thought it was good, or,
Okay.
good-ish. The thing that's changed for me is at the beginning of 2025, I was still holding on to. I'm gonna cartoon it up a little bit, but I was still holding on to God, someone behind the curtain playing the organ, pulling the strings, and honking the horn. Um, that mindset of God, I still had that in my head. In 2026, I think one of my biggest deconstruction watershed moments or for 2025 specifically, sorry, was letting go of that idea. Was letting go of it's 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 somebody.
I feel like there was like we had a conversation, and I may have misjudged it, but I feel like we had a conversation, may have even been on the pod,
Yeah.
where you asked if I think you were clarifying. So you don't think that there's anyone that you're praying to,
I asked you,
and
yeah,
yeah,
if
and you
anyone
seem
hears you.
yeah,
I
and
think that's different.
you seem sad about that when I
I
said
think that's
no.
different.
What? Okay,
I don't think that there is a person, a consciousness at the top of some period or at the top of some pyramid. I don't think there is a divine council the way that we're describing it. Like, I
okay,
don't think there's a group of interstellar separate beings all sitting on a throne, watching everything, whether literal or even metaphorical. I don't think that's happening. But I do believe there is an intelligence in the universe. I think consciousness created the universe, as trippy as that sounds. I think consciousness came before matter. Um, and I think that intelligence in the of the universe is is in everything in the universe. I'm not the one that come up with this idea. I'm describing the idea of Wakantanka, the Shoshone Native American idea of God or the Great Spirit or the Great Mystery is what they called it. Is that there's a divine intelligence in everything, a great mystery, a great spirit in everything. And when I pray, it's not just it's not just I'm calling on my higher consciousness. I even think there's different levels of this. Even getting into what close to the idea of what I had of God and gods, but I think there's like a collective consciousness that I can tap into when I like remember things. When you know what I mean?
hmm
I also think that there can be a so much focus. Yeah, that's kind of what I was describing that first time. So much focus on power where you manifest thing. I also think there's something above that where like there is a celestial intelligence that hears you when you pray. If if yeah, yeah. I I think that requires cultivation, but even if there's not cultivation, I still think there is a celestial. I'm just using different words for God, but I don't
yeah, but it's not
I
one. It's not one
yeah.
thing being.
I definitely don't think
I,
there's a judge. I
yeah,
don't think anyone's going to judge you. I think you're doing that all on your own. And I that might be God too, or the God part of you, but probably not. That might be the shadow. I don't think there's a judge. I think that's you. I think all the gods and angels and demons are inside of you. But that's not to say that they're not real. That's just that thing that's
yeah,
manifesting like, homie, it's all inside of you.
yeah,
It's all there.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I was gonna say the universe is inside of us, but that's one of those things that sounds good. It sounds true. I believe it's
Yeah,
true. But what the fuck do you mean by that?
exactly. Like, what do you even
Uh,
mean?
I don't know. Here's something that I wanted to ask you, and I wanted to ask well Benny on our last episode. I completely forgot. I know the answer. I know the first answer to this, but I want to hear you say it, and then I want to hear your second. What about Christmas? If you don't like, is Christmas still special to you? Is it still? Is there still something um, reverent, holy? Is there still something holy about it, even if it's not the day that the Son of God became
Yeah,
man?
right. Um, I still think it's cool to celebrate Jesus. Like I even still have a rosary because I still think the manifestation and the idea of thousands of years now of us creating this idea of even though he's changed drastically over the millennia, but this idea of the Son of God coming in flesh here as a rescue mission to save you from your sins, whatever, I still think there's something very powerful, supernaturally powerful about that idea that you can still tap into. And I think even celebrating the idea of God coming down to earth For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. That's kind of weird now. But still celebrating the idea of God, this rescue mission, the rescue mission of God putting on human skin and coming here to sacrifice. I still think that's powerful. I obviously don't think it really like that happened. I think there was probably a historical Jesus, but anyway, um, I think humans have been celebrating winter solstice since there have been humans. Probably before there have been humans. Humans have been celebrating the winter solstice, all of the solstices. Like our ancestors that became humans, they were most likely celebrating the solstices. I think the idea of going out into the world like a family spreading out into the world, think about like ancient man. You take your small nuclear family and go do this and blah blah blah. But at the winter solstice, all the families come back together, and you can go back to like your ancestral home, you know what I mean, and
Hmm.
celebrate whatever your beliefs are of the winter solstice, give gifts, have a feast. I think that is written on the heart of man, of human. I think there's probably something, there's a reason for that. I think Christmas is special, but not because I think the Son of God came impregnated a virgin, however that happens, impregnated a virgin and then a stable and wise men and shepherds.
Yeah.
I don't think that happened.
Yeah.
But it's still important. What do you think?
I I think that it's still one of my favorite holidays.
Yeah.
I think that the story is what's important. The story of
Yeah.
sacrifice and the story of new birth and rebirth and
Yeah.
redemption and everything that it entails. But it's funny. I didn't stop believing in the virgin. So I stopped. That would have been one of the stories that I thought was allegorical. So I didn't believe last Christmas. I didn't believe in the virgin birth,
Oh, okay.
but the Christmas before that I did, and
Yeah.
I think I even made a Facebook post to draw my friends to Christ about like believing in miracles, whatever it was. Um, but it's kind of funny on this side of it to look back and just think, man, what a strange thing to believe.
That was based on a misinterpretation of prophecy from Isaiah,
I
the
hadn't heard
virgin
that.
birth.
I hadn't heard that, but um,
So Mark is they talked about this on the one of the most on the, it was either last week or this week on misquoting Jesus with Bart Ehrman.
yeah,
But Mark is is the oldest gospel of the gospels. We know that because Matthew and Luke quoted Mark verbatim, and Mark didn't quote Matthew or Luke verbatim, but they both quoted. And the oldest manuscripts of Matthew and Luke were much later than Mark. And there was also another source. Anyway, Mark didn't have the virgin birth. Mark doesn't start off with the virgin birth. Matthew adds the virgin birth as an interpretation of this prophecy in Isaiah, saying that he will a virgin will give birth, and he will be the Messiah. A virgin will give birth, and by the time that man comes, the man will be the Messiah. Well, that has to do with the Septuagint. The authors of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, they weren't reading ancient Hebrew. They were probably speaking Aramaic. Definitely, the actual disciples of Jesus were speaking ancient Aramaic, but those weren't the authors of Matthew, Mark, and Luke. The authors of Matthew, Mark, and Luke were probably speaking Greek, and they were reading the Greek version of the Old Testament, the Septuagint. Well, the Hebrew for the virgin is the same word that means a young woman. But
yeah.
in Greek, a young woman is interpreted as a virgin. There's still versions of this in languages today. Señorita, a little girl, also technically means a little virgin, even though you wouldn't call a little girl a little virgin.
Yeah.
That's what that word means. Um, so the author of Matthew, the author of the book of Matthew, thought that Isaiah said a virgin had to give birth, and that was about their captive in Babylon. He thought that a virgin had to give birth to the Messiah, and it was just a little girl. Anyway,
I think that's such a good example of recognizing that the Gospels or the New Testament was written by somebody who had a belief,
Mm-hmm.
who was interpreting something through some, like they needed this to happen in order for Jesus to be the Messiah. Or maybe you could say, well, because he's the Messiah, that's what he meant when he went to the temple and did this. Or that's what this means because we know that the destruction of whatever.
That's what Matthew does. Matthew's all about fulfilling prophecy, reaching to fulfill prophecy.
And if you look at it as one book, then you start, I've talked before about the graphic that has all of these lines of cross references, and here's when this prophecy is foretold, and here's where it's fulfilled, and all this kind of stuff. Well, yeah, if you approach it with the intent of making it fulfill prophecy, or if you approach it with the intent of saying, oh, well, since this is true, using this as a key to interpret that, you can make it work if you do it like that. But if you, in my opinion, which is somewhat uneducated, though more educated than I think the mainstream, your mainstream American Christian will say that. But yeah, if you look at it as a separate author saying a different thing, not forcing the pieces together, it makes a lot more sense to look at them as standalone documents. But B, you realize that a lot of what we believe is just in light of something else, that
I think everything that we believe comes on to us in one way or another from someone else.
Which is fair. That's true, but I think that's a good reason to. It's a good reminder that you're not. You aren't your thoughts. You aren't.
That's right.
We are what people put on us.
Yeah.
And what we put on ourselves, but still.
Mm-hmm. What we put on ourselves, we learned from other people, or from modeling theory, right? From how your brain is formed, from the adults. When you're the first 3 years is when your brain is doing the most growth, because it's just totally it's a complete blank slate, totally absorbing the world. Like an infant's brain doesn't know that when you drop something, it has to fall. It has to learn that. It doesn't even know it's in a body. It's putting all these pieces together. And so everything a child knows, he or she, they got from the world outside of them. Like how the world works. And that's what laid the path for their neural brain work, for their neural pathways. That if I say a lie, this happens. If I do something good, this happens. If I do this, they like me. If I do that, they don't like me. Oh no. Like all of that happens in those first 3 years. Mm-hmm. And we expect that guy to come into a world without any of these, whatever happens on it.
So the beliefs we have, it's the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
They're affected, they're created by those around us.
Deconstruction, or what are you going to be doing in 2026? What are you going to be doing to scratch that itch spiritually? Or maybe it's not even spiritual anymore, but just like metaphysical, supernatural, that whatever. What are you going to be doing in 26?
Well, I think that I'm probably still going to be trying to scratch that spiritual itch. I went to another meeting this past Sunday, another Baha'i meeting.
Baha'i, yeah.
I don't know. It's cool to talk about spiritual things and to talk about different relevant topics. It's generally a pretty small group. Like this past time, there was probably 6 people. Wow. There was one guy that was younger than me, 3 ladies that were significantly older, and then the main dude. I don't know. It's just it's an interesting crowd. Not really the sort of people I would hang out with on a regular basis. So I don't know, but I want to keep going to just things like that. I really want to get to I'd love to go to a Hindu service. I'd love to go to a Muslim service. Not that I would find my place there per se. I just want to check different things out.
Yeah. Yeah, I am. I'm not married so one of the things that changed from 2025 to now is up until fairly recently is I was still bringing my family to church. My family doesn't want to go to church, and I think church has definitely lost a lot of its luster for me. I'm not going to force church on my family anymore
Yeah,
in 26. Um, it doesn't make sense for me to do that anymore. But I would like to find some community, like to feel that maybe some community events, a regular community group. I don't know what that looks like for my kids to plug into. Can you hear Cash screaming behind me?
yeah, I can hear somebody screaming.
Okay, cool. He's going to bed right now and he does not like it.
I had thought about, and I still may do this, wanting to join an art class.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think something like that is just as if you could go to a class on a regular basis and make friends,
Yeah.
that's a small group, dude.
Yeah.
That's I think that's just as beneficial. Just being involved in the community, maybe even more beneficial.
I like going to the fishing pier and meeting new old fishermen there
Yeah.
and like having my kids around us. That is an awesome community to be a
Yeah.
part of. Old fishermen.
I
Jesus Lord.
I ran into an old client the other day at Planet Fitness, and he walked up to me, and I knew him from somewhere. This was maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and he's an older dude, probably in his 70s. I remember when I first met him. He's from California, uh, Wife is Air Force. Anyway, I he came up to me and approached me, and I was like, man, I know you. Long story short, I was like, dude, I feel like you know stuff. Let's go have coffee sometime, and I just want to pick your brain about life. So I'm meeting him tomorrow, just because I feel like, I mean, he's just one of those guys that I don't know. I feel like he knows stuff. I feel like
Yeah.
he's obviously he's older than me, so he's experienced more than me, and
I
I just I think I want to do some more of that in 26. Like just picking
yeah,
people's brains. Like, what have you learned?
that's good. That's awesome. Yeah, I want to dig into that. Um I'd like to I'd like to have more interesting conversations about all the topics, and I hope that the podcast is going to be a big
Yeah,
part of that. Actually, I know that the
yeah, for
podcast is
sure.
going to be a big part of that. Um 2025 or 2026 for spirituality, I want to try to lean into the things that I already have. So like minus the church, because I don't know. I'm just leaning into this idea of like what you have, you already need, and what does that mean? Like I have some meditation practices, I have some ancestor stuff that I like to do, like to pray to talk to my ancestors. Um, Stoicism. There's like some theological aspects of Stoicism that people typically avoid, or it's just not normally brought up because it's not cool broicism stuff. But like Stoicism talks about God and has some, at least on how to think about God. And even Epictetus, the author I'm thinking of, uses God as more of the inescapable law of the universe. Like you have to love fate. Like that is the Stoic tenet, loving fate, amor fati. You have to love fate because you can't fight it, and so you have to love it. What are you going to do? Fight this impossible thing all day?
Right.
Accept it, brother. Like that idea of God, I want to lean into that, explore that some more, and yeah. Anything else? I'll be willing to talk about as it pops up, but I think that's where I'm going to go. That's my aim, my general aim
I
for
think
the
that's a
beginning
good.
of 26.
I think that's a good direction. What about physically? You trying to do anything new? And T Bone sent something. It might have been just to me. I don't know if it was to both of us. Some video about like constantly striving to be better, to do more. That's all well and good, but I think that sometimes we can go overboard thinking we gotta fix ourselves and we gotta
Yeah.
do this resolution and we gotta get healthy, blah blah blah. So I'm not trying to put that on you, but do you have any health goals for 26?
I do, and I'm going to talk about them right now. But what I want to come back to what you were just talking about, my inner child. I'm going to talk about that on here a little bit, or at least the idea of it,
Okay.
and I think that relates to that. For health wise, 2026, I had a fairly, I can count them on maybe two hands, fitness related injuries this year, or on one hand.
But while you were trying to do the right thing,
While I was trying to do the right thing.
not lack of fitness injuries.
No, not a lack of fitness injury. These were injuries sustained in the pursuit of
Yeah,
better
yeah.
fitness. I think, yeah, in 26, I'm definitely going to lean in more, and I've already got some plans on this, more in strength and conditioning, strengthening my joints. I just got a stupid knee injury from playing catch with Cash the other day. I went down and like hyperextended my knee, and it's still not right. I'm gonna take a solid month off of running because I don't want to mess that up. But I'm walking and jogging and trying and bracing. But I have I have an injury on that tendon before, so strengthening my joints, conditioning, calisthenics, like kettlebell slash calisthenics, I guess. Not normal. I don't mind bench press and squat. I think that's actually is really good. It has its place. But me personally, I would rather do kettlebells and like steel maces and iron clubs.
Yeah,
I can do that in my garage. I don't have to go anywhere. I can get a badass workout.
yeah.
And I think it's also like shaving with a straight razor
It's
versus
just cool.
yeah, it's just cool.
Who's that T Mac guy? What's his name?
Oh,
Taco.
I know. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. You can go by T Mac, but I don't remember his real name.
I think that. Well, I think that's his
His
Instagram.
handle.
Yeah, which I haven't seen him post in a while. I wonder if
Hmm.
he's still on. Anyway, he used to do badass workouts like that.
Hell yeah, yeah! I got a lot of those ideas from him. The bands, I got a bunch of his setup, like going down with bands on one foot,
Yeah.
swinging a kettlebell or swinging a steel mace. Um, okay, well for health, I'm also going to be joining a BJJ club or a
Oh,
BJJ gym out here. Yeah,
nice. I didn't know that.
yeah, gonna be doing that. I've been a jiu-jitsu white belt like maybe 4 times in my life, and I'm still a white belt with
Are
jiu-jitsu.
are you going to go to the sparring class, or are you going to go to just the technique class?
I think they do this. They do what Fox Fitness did when I was there in Wichita. I think they do the same thing here, where they have like warm-ups, 30 minutes of technique, and then clap, and you go with some, and it's just rolling for the next
Okay.
half hour. I think that's what they do.
We had two different classes. I think it was the Tuesday night class was just I think it was just a beginner tech class, and I think it was just technique. The other night they did sparring afterwards, and it was just an open mat, so you'd have blue belts all the way up to black belt. But I used to dread that so much.
The sparring,
Yes, I dreaded it. But
I kind of
afterwards,
am.
dude, there's afterwards. I just like anything else that you dread. I never regretted it afterwards.
Yeah.
And immediately you feel like puking because you're just so wiped, you're just so exhausted,
Yeah.
and you may be hurt, whatever. You may regret it in that sense, but yeah, I used to dread it so much.
Well, I know from kind of just life in general that nothing is as bad in real life as it is in your head. Sometimes, sometimes things are a little bit worse. But like whenever you're obsessing, not even obsessing, but whenever you're like dreading rolling, which I've gone through that, especially as a white belt, because you're 40 years old or you're 45 years old, whatever you're in, and there's these 19, 16-year olds that can just manhandle you,
Yeah,
have their way with you.
yeah, but there's also the just even if they're not trying to manhandle you, the the fear of getting hurt, but also like I don't have anything to prove really.
Yeah.
Like I'm not
I'm
competing.
not going there to learn how to compete. No.
Yeah, I don't really want to figure out how to get out of this whatever kind of armbar you've got me in. Like just let me just tap. Let's start over.
Yeah.
But that's cool. That's really cool. I didn't know that you were doing that.
Yeah. Um, that's it from for health wise.
Let
I'm
me ask you
definitely
this.
go ahead.
Are you going to go shirtless or shirted under the gi? Is it a gi class you're going to go to?
You, I think the only way to do martial arts is with a gi, and
Okay.
the only way to wear a gi is with nothing underneath it.
Okay. I like it.
So, we'll let nature take its course, I guess.
Yeah.
Mental health in 2026, mental health specifically. Um, I want to bring this up because I'm not gonna get too deep or whatever, but I think it's good and it's in our lane. In the past, I don't know. It's actually always been there, but it's definitely been in my world recently. The idea of an inner child. Have you heard about this inner child? Have you heard about this before, J-Dub?
I've heard the concept, and I recently have discovered that I've got some inner child work to do.
Yeah.
However, I don't really know. I, I don't know the details of what that entails.
You know,
I've got an idea of what it means for me, but I'm not sure. Like,
I think it's like deconstruction. I think it means like there's a general idea of what the inner child is, but it's also very specific and nuanced to the individual of what that even means even. Like there's an overarching theme of what the inner child is, but it's all pretty individual. I say that because I was doing some self-exploration recently, and I don't mind admitting this. I've talked about it before. I go to therapy. I go to therapy and I talk about things with my therapist. I also talk about big ideas with people that are close to me. You, my mentor, my wife, you know, um, I work out these ideas. I was working out how I have, and I've talked about this on here before, and not to get too sappy, but just staying in the mental health. I had childhood trauma. I had, like, it's kind of normal, but, degrees, not everybody. The top of childhood trauma I went through was complex and it wasn't normal. But I'm saying lots of people experience childhood trauma.
right?
Childhood trauma I went through is not everyone goes through, but it made me hard to forgive because hard to forgive people in general in the world because I thought I wasn't thinking this actively. I realized it was just kind of in the back of my head, like in my worldview. I thought nobody had pity on me as a kid. I'm not gonna have pity on anyone else. Fuck them. That wasn't a thought that I was pushing. Like I wasn't thinking that when I saw a homeless person, but that was the hardwire. That was the hardwire from my 3-year-old self because the feeling is that no one had pity on me. I'm not going to have pity on anyone else. Well, what that leads to is you can look at people when you see them, you can start to look at people as less than human. And I think this is a very common thing when you think about homeless people. If you see a man on the sidewalk every single day at Quick Trip, maybe you give him a couple quarters, maybe you give him a couple dollars, yada yada. But you're never going to invite that man into your house. But if that was your son, or if that was a family member, if that was, whatever, if that was, it could be someone that you invited it into your house if they were important enough for you to do that. But whenever you look at them, and I'm not saying this judgmentally, I think it's just maybe a human survival thing. Maybe everybody does this, but you have to look at, or you don't have to. We look at people, and I think as a survival mechanism in our brain, we say, "Oh, I can't see that homeless man as a real human because if I did, there's no way I'd let someone sleep outside in the freezing cold. A
Yeah,
human? There's no way I'd let someone starve to death under a bridge when I'm a mile away because I'm a good person." You know what I mean?
yeah,
So in order to navigate that world, you look at them as less than human. I was doing that a lot in life. And like I said, I was using that childhood trauma as a reason to do that. Whereas as yeah, that laid the that laid the groundwork to make me do that. I don't know.
Yeah, it was maybe the driving force behind it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, um, I am going to therapy and I'm interested in fixing, or not fixing, in improving myself and bettering my situation. It sucks, especially if you recognize that about yourself. You're like, oh man, I have this negative behavior that I want to change. Why do I do that negative behavior? Well, it's because of my outlook. You know, you start doing the work. It's because of my outlook on the world. Well, where did this outlook on the world came from? It started way back then when
Yeah,
I was 3. What happened when you were 3? Like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and the inner child, I think, is a pretty good area of focus for maybe everyone to take a look at. How it happened for me was there was negative behaviors, negative ideas. There was something about me that I knew I needed to address. And for me, it went down to like, where did this come from? Where did all this start? And I kept chasing and chasing and chasing it back to that inner kid.
yeah. So, what? How are you planning on reaching the inner child or addressing the inner child? Do you just say things that you like? Let's say that I think that probably fear is the motivation for most of our behaviors. So
Yeah.
the reason we don't want to invite the guy under the bridge into our home
Hmm.
is fear, and
Yeah.
and legitimate fear.
Okay.
We
Sure.
don't know this guy. He's got, who knows, he's unpredictable, could be
Is that
wild.
the reason?
I think probably I think it comes down to fear.
What about women? Oh, sorry.
But then you, in order to justify that fear, then I think that you start dehumanizing and
Yeah.
othering and all that kind of stuff. But do you take something that you're afraid of or something, anger, whatever it is, and you just talk to that inner child as if he were in the room, or how do you plan on doing it?
Woo! There's a bunch of stuff there. There's the mental mansion. Have you ever talked about the mental mansion before?
I
Or the
don't know
mental
on
palace?
you and I have. I don't know if we have on here before.
I think that's a really cool thought experiment to talk to the inner child in the mental mansion. But how I'm doing it right now, I'm doing it with the assistance of professionals. I'm doing it with the assistance of my therapist. And I'm also looking in, reading, researching these things. But right now, my game or the only action plan has been to acknowledge that that kid is in there. Acknowledge that I say that kid, I'm using that kid kind of like I use the word God. I'm using that element is in me that is still reeling from the trauma, is still surviving in a world shaped by that trauma.
Yeah,
Then I have to acknowledge that the neural pathways that have been laid by how I see the world is that kid. You
yeah.
know what I
He's
mean?
the one that laid the tracks.
He's the one who laid the tracks, or the tracks were laid on him, kind of.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, right now it's just an acknowledging and exploration, and I feel like every week this has been going on for weeks. Every week I'm discovering something new about this kid. Like, oh yeah, that's why you don't like bananas, or whatever.
yeah.
Um, right now I'm just kind of getting to know him. What about you? What do you know? What's your relationship with the inner child, or do you have one? Or
Well, I probably I'm not sure when I I'm not sure when I kind of started paying attention to it, but the way that I have been addressing it is by writing letters.
oh,
Like
cool.
I'll write letters back and forth from myself to myself,
Yeah.
and I just like the other day, I sent you a message, you and Travis a message about how sometimes I'm just such a fucking weirdo, like just doing odd shit. But personally, for me, I find, I'll write myself a letter. Hey, buddy. And buddy, my dad used to call me buddy when I was a little kid. And so
Yeah.
I call my little me, I call him buddy, and just checking in. Hey,
Yeah.
man, hey, buddy, I saw this, I noticed that.
Yeah.
And for me, it's been helpful in processing things, in
I think,
understanding that, yeah, there's a reason I feel certain way about certain things,
uh
and there's a good chance that it started back then.
yeah. Yeah.
And so for me, like I was thinking this the other day, like I distinctly remember in fact, my very first, no, I won't say that. I distinctly remember being afraid of going places when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And so,
Well,
one of the things, or being left is what I
uh-huh.
should say, being
Oh
dropped
yeah.
off. And so I was just having a little conversation with myself about, it's okay. They're safe people. And I kind of caught myself, or no, they're nice people. And I caught myself thinking, well, maybe they weren't nice. I don't know if they were nice at all,
Uh-huh.
but you're going to be safe.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay.
That's right.
And, again, it's fucking weird. Who knows whether it makes any difference at all. But I think it does. And I think that it's something I'm going to keep working on in 26.
I've said this to you in our own conversations, and I it's true here. I think it's important. It feels like progress.
Yeah.
It feels like I can have a little bit more compassion and empathy for myself because I understand that I'm not God and there's things outside of my control. I didn't control everything that happened to me, so it's impossible for me to be
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah. And another thing that I told myself the other day was that you were wrong about things, but you were working on the information you had.
Yeah.
And that still applies today. Like that's still
Yes.
true today, that I'm basing decisions on faulty information, limited information.
Well, on the only information that you have. That's
Yeah.
the only, yeah.
Yeah. All I know is all I know.
That's
And
right.
and then I know something else. I'm like, oh shit, I was wrong.
Yeah.
But I feel like even in allowing myself to have been wrong, to have made decisions based on wrong information, that necessarily, like, even though I'm not talking to myself now, like
Yeah.
I think it still gives grace to not have everything figured out right now either.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's going to be a big part of that's going to be a big part of of my healing. Man, I say that. It sounds woo woo. It's weird that I get embarrassed by talking about healing. Like get embarrassed by myself. Like I just now had an inner critical thought or an inner thought of like, oh, your healing process,
Look at this guy.
F word, your healing process.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I need to heal that kid because here's the thing too, is it's not wussy. It's actually manly to address the obstacle. I say manly. It's courageous.
Courageous. Yeah.
It's virtuous. It's wise and just and courageous and temperate to address your obstacles. And one of the obstacles I have is like is what it is. It can be anything, whatever your obstacle is, your problem, your hang up is. Um, it's not going to get better by you ignoring it. It's not
Never.
no matter how many other good things you do, no matter if you get your doctorate, you become a preacher, you become the president, you're paying your taxes, you become a millionaire. Your hang up is not going to go away until you address it. So, in addressing these things, um, yeah, I'm focusing on addressing these things in healing. And when I say healing, I'm talking about trying to live in a life or at least in a span where I'm not constantly tormented by my hangups. I'm trying to get some relief from my hangups. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get a little bit of release from this battle that's going on in here 24/7. I'm trying to get a little bit of space from that.
Yeah.
Trying to love the guy I see in the mirror. I'm trying to forgive him and accept him so I can better love and forgive and accept and do all the things with my family and the world around me. it's really hard to love it's really hard to do anything that you don't know how to do yourself or that you can't do for yourself. I can't teach my girl how to tie her shoes if I don't know how to tie my shoes.
Yeah.
I can't teach my baby how to love and respect herself if I don't love and respect myself. And homie, it's
That's
hard for
hard,
me.
dude. That's
It's
real hard.
hard.
It's so much easier to love and respect others.
Yeah, because they deserve it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I haven't figured that one out yet, but that'll be part of the plan for 26
Yeah.
is to lay my therapists off because I won't need them anymore.
But yeah, that's been the year in review. Man, this podcast has been so beneficial for me. I encourage you all to get your own podcast out there, and that can either be an actual podcast or you can just your thing. The what the podcast is for me has been, and I say me as the co-host of this podcast, it's been a creative outlet. It's been something for me to put my time and energy into. It's been another way for me to connect with people, definitely with my close friend, but also with maybe some new people, with some people that have different ideas than me. This podcast has been a way for me to chew and share ideas and, try to examine some things honestly. Uh, I'd encourage everyone out there to get something, to get your podcast, whatever that is, to get a relationship, to get a practice, to get a hobby, to get something creative that you can do. Because, man, uh, this helps. This helps and it's good.
Yeah, and what a man, what a way to be vulnerable too. Like it's hard. It's hard to be willing to record this and post it,
Yeah.
and sometimes say some wrong shit, sometimes say some
Yeah.
dumb shit, sometimes say too much. But personally, I've found it liberating to be vulnerable,
Yeah.
and something else I'm planning on doing in 26 is just being more honest.
Yeah.
Like, not that I've ever been dishonest, but honest in the sense of just saying what
Yeah.
I want
Needs to be
and
said.
and leaving it at that,
Yeah. Yeah.
and not having to qualify it or apologize for it or just say what I want to say.
Yeah, there can be a dishonesty of like telling untruths, and there can even be a dishonesty of like not admitting certain truths, like whenever it's important. But I think there's also a dishonesty of acting as if a truth doesn't exist or acting as if a truth didn't happen, especially when that truth has been brought to your attention. What I mean by that is like, I think it would be dishonest for me to act like my house isn't on fire if it's on fire. Like, even though no one else's
Yeah.
house is on fire, I don't, it's
Yeah.
embarrassing for me to act like my house is on fire. Homie, your house is on fire. For you to act like your house is not on fire is dishonest.
Yeah.
I was dishonest. Well, being more honest with me. Yes, and to what you said. I want to be more honest with me. And what that looks like for me is exploring these things that maybe I was acting like didn't exist, didn't happen.
Yeah.
This isn't a bummer, right? We're not being bummers.
No, man, there's life on the other side.
Yeah, dude, it's hopeful. Like
Absolutely.
I said, it feels like progress.
Yeah. I mean, the bummer would be if you just said, if you just didn't do anything and just stayed put and just said, okay, I guess I'll just continue not dealing with it.
Yep. Who do you want to have on as a guest in 26? Maybe someone specifically, and also a type. Like, who is a type of person you'd like to have on a guest, and do you have anyone specific?
Well, I know we've got my buddy Jason should be coming on, and I'm hoping to go snowboarding with him here in a few weeks. What were you getting ready to say?
Oh, I can cut it out if you want. But what's Jason's deal?
So he owns a podcast studio. He also builds podcast furniture. Previous pastor,
Okay.
and before that, he was in um, marketing, I believe it was.
Marketing.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's as far as I can tell, he's has gone or is going down similar trails to what we've gone down. So
Cool.
I think it'll be an interesting conversation. I would love to talk to musicians.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of music. Mostly, I just want to talk to people that have interesting ideas.
Yeah.
That know some stuff, that maybe think some stuff, that think outside the box.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just really interested in interesting conversations.
I agree. Interesting conversations. I've already started to reach out to some potential guests, and I've got some feedback from some of them. But I want some other podcasters on as guests, and specifically podcasters with expertise in UFOs. So I want to hear about the UFOs. I want to hear about aliens. I want to hear about these genetic manipulations that they're doing to stealing, these kids and coming back with these hybrids. I want to hear about that, UFOs and aliens. I want to get some people on here to talk to us about ghosts. I want to get maybe a ghost hunter or two on in
Okay.
26. Maybe more. We'll see. Maybe I want to get ghost hunters, UFOs. I want to get some cryptid experts on here. I think there's some cryptid expert podcasters or YouTubers.
What's a cryptid expert?
Oh, a cryptid. Do you know what a cryptid is?
I don't.
Oh my goodness. Well, a cryptid is a blanket term, is the type of animal. So like you have your mammals, you have your reptiles, you have your avians. Well, you also have your cryptids, which include your Bigfoot, your Mothman, your Chupacabra.
Oh,
your-
okay.
You know what I mean? Your
And you're
dog
one-
boy.
Okay.
I want a podcaster or a source of information, but I think it would be cool for a podcaster to come on, to talk to us about some cryptids, some Bigfoots and Mothmans.
You know, this is one of the reasons I love you. Is I thought you were saying you wanted to have a cryptid on.
Oh.
And I would not be, like, it would not be surprised. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if you told me, "Hey, man, we got a Mothman coming on next Tuesday." Or I reached out to a Mothman. He's going to let me know.
Oh, I 100% would. If there
Yes.
was a Mothman that had,
If you know a Mothman, send him our way.
yeah,
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, that sounds fun.
yeah. So we got some cryptids. I got some ghost hunters. We got some UFO alien experts on. I would like to have those areas, and maybe another politician to give us some inside politician. I think we learned a lot from Dan, and I actually had some notes on that of conspiracies that we learned on, but that's just more to talk about next year or this year as the year goes on.
You know, I think we talked about having somebody on from the underworld, like a criminal, or
Oh yeah,
some. I think a conversation like that would be interesting.
definitely. And I think that could be a get. The problem is with anyone, it's not just that type, but you want to get someone that has something to say and that knows kind of how to talk.
Yeah,
How to talk.
and who's bona fide.
Bona
You know,
fide.
like there's a lot of bullshitters out there in all of these
Yes.
all of these areas that you mentioned. There are bullshitters, but it might be difficult to find a.
That's why I think podcasters are a cool source, because you can look at the followers and you can look at their subject matter. Or like I say podcasters, I mean content creators. That's why content creators are interesting, because, like, well, how many people are following this person? What is this person actually saying? Versus your Uncle Timmy who lives in the trailer park down the street. Timmy would be a cool convo. I like having those convos. I really like having those convos.
But nobody's listened to him since 1997.
Yeah, and even then, it was the people at the VFW that didn't have anywhere else to go.
Right.
But yeah,
I, I would love to hear some recommendations. I would love it if somebody had somebody
yeah.
that they knew that has a story that needs to be told or an idea that needs to be heard.
This is definitely going to be chopped up and shorted, but if you've made it this far, and maybe if you haven't, maybe if this is a short, write in and tell us who you want us to have on the show. It can be someone specific, and it can also be a type of person. Either way, I can make you a promise that if I have the ability, I will contact that person. I will reach out to that person, to them or their team. I got a response from Congressman Massey's team. He, yeah, they gave me an email to send inquiries to.
If you don't know Clayton Blackwood, if you don't know him like I know him, let me just tell you, he will contact them. It does not matter.
Yeah, dude. If I have a means of contact,
He'll do
I
it.
will.
Yes.
I sure will.
Yes.
That has been Lawless Podcast 2025 year in review / brand opening to 2026. My man, Justin, I don't say this enough, but I appreciate you. I learned from you. I love you, my brother. I'm so happy we're doing this, and I'm looking forward to a year of rocking and rolling. One of many.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The same to you, homie.
Okay.
All right. Well, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
That
Later.
was my kazoo.